Okay, so we get a pretty cool cover page of Yuno, which this cover page basically depicts his entire journey throughout this arc, which was basically just him heading towards this power source or this energy that was calling to him, which now I guess we can assume was the real Lich who was kind of just like his body was being preserved in a state of animation or something, or reanimation or something like that, until his soul was put back in his body. Which, by the way, it's been about 5 chapters now, and he's still standing in the exact same spot that he's been in since he was reanimated and brought back to life. Is he going to do anything before the arc ends? I mean, I was kind of hoping to see him do something. I was really just kind of hoping to see him like see what his stance is on this whole kill all humans thing. I mean, I guess you can say now since we know that he just sat there and watched as Mimosa was kind of tortured off page throughout this arc, or in the fact that he watched Asta get attacked by the elves in this chapter. I guess you can say that yeah, he's kind of on board, but still, I want to see him do something before the arc ends, some kind of badass thing. The goal with basically how badass the character's been depicted as being in like in the flashback so far. Okay, so the chapter picks up pretty much with the exact same scene as we saw at the end of the last chapter with the three of them escaping. Except for Liar, he's not letting them go that easily. He's like, all right, I may not be able to kill her, but we are really after you, Asta, and we're not letting you get away because we need your grimoire for some reason. I still understand what the connection between the Lich and Asta's grimoire is. But he's basically saying, Asta, I'm not going to let you get away even if it kills me. He grabs onto Asta as they're escaping. Asta realizes that basically he can't fight him off and protect the other two at the same time. So he throws Mario Leona onto Zora. He tells him, hey, get the fuck out of here. I'll catch up with you guys when I can. I'm not going to die. I promise you that. And Zora's basically looking at him like, you fucking hypocrite. Which, yeah, Asta is kind of a hypocrite, but that kind of goes with showing tropes with the protagonist being a hypocrite in these type of situations. He won't let anyone sacrifice themselves for him, but he will let himself be sacrificed in order to protect the other people. Of course, he'll go with the caveat, I'm not sacrificing myself because I'm not going to die. I don't have any plans on dying. But still, it's kind of a hypocritical stance right here where he's saying, I'm not going to let you sacrifice yourself for me, but I'm willing to do it for you. Now, at first I was a little disappointed with Zora, the fact that he didn't even try to fight back and save Asta and help him out. But then I went back and reread the chapter and I saw, okay, yeah, he kind of mentions that, just by Liar's magical presence being there, his body's basically unable to move, so there's not much he could have been. He really wouldn't have been able to do anything. He wouldn't have been able to fight back if he can't even move his own body just in the presence of Liar himself. So yeah, I can forgive him for not fighting back against Asta or trying to help Asta out. So Liar teleports Asta out there, and then we check in with Yuno and the rest of them. And the first thing we see is basically someone being hung up on a cross. And I immediately had to stop reading right here and take a quick break, like a quick breath real quick, because I was like, oh shit, tell me they did not kill Mimosa off page and hang her on a cross. Luckily they didn't. They didn't kill her. She's beat all to hell, but they didn't kill her. And they just beat her up, hung her up on a cross, and they're kind of just sitting there mocking her. And she's kind of like in that. She's kind of like in the state like, what the fuck's going on? She's like, Klaus, Hammond, what the fuck are you two doing? You're my friends. Why are you guys going against me like this? And they're basically just saying. They basically are saying what every elf has been saying all this time. Your royalty, we hate you, and there's no way we could be friends with humans because we're elves. Now, what's interesting about this is that just like Lich, who's just been basically standing there this whole time, just watching them silently, Yuno's doing the same thing. And either Klaus or Hammond, I'm not sure which, but one of them mentions that when they look back at him and seeing that he's not doing anything, they mention the fact that his elf hasn't fully awakened yet to who he really is. Like he hasn't fully become aware of himself yet. And I guess this is implying that Yuno is kind of like fighting back against their reincarnation magic, which doesn't make sense if he could do that when other characters who have equally high level magic weren't able to do it and were easily overtaken. So Liar's basically been holding on to Asta this entire time, and Asta's basically been struggling trying to get free. And Liar's basically like, yo, I'm done with this. I'm not struggling with you anymore. So he opens up a portal and just throws Asta right in front of Klaus and them. And Asta's like, what the fuck's going on? Like he sees Mimosa tied up. He sees Klaus and Hammond. He's like, Klaus, what the fuck are you doing? He doesn't recognize Hammond. He doesn't know exactly who he is, like by name. So he calls him the fat guy from Golden Dawn. It's kind of funny. But anyway, Klaus is like, who the fuck are you? We don't recognize you. Like, you think we're friends? We're not friends. We're elves. We're the enemies of humans. And then this is when Asta kind of shows like his protag stats right here, where he tries to reach out to them, tries to convince them not to do whatever the fuck they're doing as they're attacking him and Mimosa. And we see that he actually kind of reaches out to Klaus. Like, we notice that the elf inside Klaus mentions that the human inside him, like the human body that he's inhabiting, is kind of fighting back and kind of struggling and reacting to Asta's like please. Which in a sense makes sense because as we know from the first time Asta met him to up until this point before he got taken over by the elf, Klaus has shown to like basically grow to respect Asta more and become more friendly with him. to the point where I guess Klaus does consider Asta to be a close friend. So it makes sense that he would be able to reach out to him somewhat. And when I saw the scene, I started to wonder, okay, if Asta, who is on good terms with Klaus, but they're not the best of friends, if he was able to make Klaus struggle a little bit against his elf, why wasn't Noel able to do the same thing with Luck? I mean, the two of them are in the same exact Magic Knight order. The two of them are close friends. We've seen the two of them interact plenty of times. They have definitely a stronger connection than Asta and Klaus do. Why wasn't she able to get Luck to struggle against his elf a little bit? It just really doesn't make that much sense to me. But anyway, ultimately Klaus was able to, or the elf inside Klaus was able to take back control. He didn't let the struggle go on for too long. Him and Hammond basically like, you know what, we're done with this. If Asta, if you want to fight back, we don't really need you alive. We just need the Grimoire. Like it's preferably you alive because the Grimoire might get destroyed with you, but we'll take our chances. The two of them decide they're going to kill both Mimosa and Asta at the same time. They combine their attack just like we saw Lyre and the rest of the elves combine their attacks last chapter. And they throw their attack right at Asta. And Asta starts up his speech like, I'm not going to die here. I can't die. I'm not going to die because I'm going to be the next Magic Emperor. And that speech right there was enough to jolt Yuno's memory, I guess, and get him to like overcome the elf that was basically trying to retake his body. And Yuno breaks control of the spell. He jumps in there. He saves Asta and Mimosa at the last minute. And he says, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like with a smile on his face, he kind of like has a joking like tense to him, where he's basically saying, what are you talking about? I'm going to be the next Magic Emperor. And that's where the chapter ends, where we see Yuno basically in his elf form, but in full control of his body. When this arc started up, I'm sure a lot of people just like myself thought that, once Yuno started hearing that energy started calling to him and he started heading towards it, we all pretty much figured that Yuno was basically going to trade his soul or go to the dark side in order to gain more power so he can get that much closer to his ultimate goal, which honestly is being Magic Emperor. And then even at the start of this chapter, when we saw Yuno was basically, still kind of struggling for control over his body against the elf that was trying to reincarnate as him, I thought that they were basically just holding off until Asta got there to fully turn him, just so that Asta could be in that much more despair of the fact that, he lost his best friend, his main rival, to the elves, and that basically would be Asta's goal for the war, basically trying to save Yuno from being controlled by an elf. But no, I'm actually digging this turn they do on this like whole like classic rivalry for a shonen character, where instead of the character going darker and darker, staying the same character he's been. He's staying, Asta's best friend. He's not turning evil. He's not going to the dark side. He gained the power up that he would get from going to the dark side, but he's staying the same, lighthearted self that he's been this entire arc or this entire series. And now that we saw Yuno basically being able to fight control over his body, I wonder if any of the other characters we haven't seen on screen yet were able to fight the control. Like maybe Gouche and his little sister were able to take control over their bodies and stop themselves from being reincarnated as elves. So yeah, it's looking like next chapter is going to be Yuno and Asta versus Klaus and Hammond, and possibly Lich, the real Lich, if he actually decides to finally make a fucking move. But ultimately, it's going to end up with, the two of them escaping, saving Mimosa, and getting out there alive. Now, I'm pretty sure if not next chapter we're going to get that, then it's going to go over to see what's going on with Gouche and all the other people that we saw get turned into elves that we haven't seen show up yet and actually, fight. And maybe we'll go back to what's going on with Noel and Luck because, that fight was never resolved. But, yeah, I'm actually looking forward to see what happens next in the arc. I can't believe I hated this arc when it started, and now it's become my favorite arc for this entire series so far. Can't wait to see what happens next, but that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.